Good evening everybody, welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for the race here for EML League 1 round 5 of the season. Unfortunately we have missed the first 3 laps of racing. We did have a few lobby problems and stream problems unfortunately on Luke's side, but we are back underway for this stream and we can see what is going on live on screen. And so far it's a battle between Nathan and Cyclonade at the very front of the field, and the man that had a great qualifying on the medium compound tyres, RBL Nolan, already down at the back of the field with Snipes. It seems like they may have come into contact in the early stages of this race. So we'll wait and see, hopefully.
In fact, we've got a few battles happening fair. The grid, I think it's... And as well, Sieb and Daniel. Well, at the moment, holding on. Biggest gainer in the top 10, I think. He's actually Stell's got up 3 places. Tarmo going up in a decent position here, Tarmo, because he's holding on the DRS range on that set of medium tyres.
Yeah, doing a really, really good job, like I say, is Tarmo, and the rest of them keeping up so far. There's not a single driver outside of DRS range in that medium train, of course, apart from the 2 at the very back of the field. So, yeah, doing a good job, like you say. Nathan and Cyclonado at the front of the field, by the way, are really going at it against one another. They're fighting back and forth for position, and Nathan is going to go back down the inside towards turn number 4. He's going to get the move done, I think, on Cyclonado through the corner, and he does so. So Nathan's back into the lead of the race, but this is, I think, already been the 4th time this race that they've swapped positions. So, yeah, they're really, really going at it at the moment. Cyclonado down to 2nd. Samba running in 3rd position at the moment. Kumbla just behind. And then Jan Verstappen and Snell, your soft compound runners. Unfortunately, it seems like Luke has disconnected, sadly. So I think it may just be me in the commentary box tonight, guys, which is a real shame to see. So we'll keep you going. Let's keep going for this. Hopefully we can get somebody into the lobby maybe to join us, but unfortunately Luke seems to have disconnected, which is a shame. So yeah, just me for you guys tonight, sadly, but we'll keep going. And as it looks, like you say, Nathan at the top of the sheets at the moment. We'll wait and see when these drivers do start to come in for their first pit stops in this race. It will be closer to around the lap 10 mark. We should see the soft runners into the pit lane. As further down, Bjorn and Snell very close to one another for 7th position. Looking for a move down the inside is Bjorn on the CPI driver. Good move down the inside from Bjorn to get the move done, and Snell can't get back at him. In fact, gets a pretty poor run coming out of turn number 3, and Tarmo right on the back of him on those medium compound tyres. Khalifa on the back of Bumpy as well, as Konzo starting to lose touch now with these drivers in front. He's allowed Sieb to get the position, so Sieb now up into 12th place as Tarmo and Snell battling side by side, coming through 5 and up towards turn 6. Down the inside, Snell tries to keep it down the inside, but Tarmo with a better grip on the medium compound tyres drives clean around the outside of the corner and gets the move done. And Cyclonado, from the very front of the field, from 2nd position, Cyclonado has dropped the car. I don't know if he's got any damage. On the face of things, it doesn't look like he does, but Cyclonado from pole position and running at the front of the field has dropped the car, which is a real shame to see. He's at the very back of the field. He's not pitted. Snell has interestingly pitted at the end of lap 6, which is a very, very early pit stop. Noisy is another one that's had a spin by the looks of things, and there he goes. He spins again through turn number 9 on those medium compound tyres. Look like they're massively overheating, and he's going to drop right down now to the very, very back of the field. I think Nolan's had a bit of an excursion off the road as well. He's dropped a long way off the back of Snipes in the recent laps. So a lot of drivers, it seems, really, really struggling for grip at the moment, and the top 6 now, the only soft runners left really at the front of this field. The rest of them all seem to have fallen by the wayside just a little bit. That spin for Cyclonado as well was promoted. Samba now for ERT up into 2nd position. Kuhnbly's up into 3rd for QVR, and LFR still have a driver in that battle at the front in Jaume in 4th position. QVR, the first team to have another driver up there at the front of the field, with QVR Verstappen in 5th position, and it's IFR Bjorn, the last of the soft runners, now at the front of the field in 6th place. Interestingly, Snell went for another set of soft compound tyres, so it looks like he thinks he can't do this race on a 1-stop strategy. He's going for a 2-stop by the looks of things, putting those soft compound tyres on. It is a relatively short pit lane loss here, but either way, that is a bold strategy from the CPI driver, maybe hoping for some sort of safety car a little bit later on in this race. We shall wait and see. Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed for his sake we can get someone. We can get a safety car and he can get back to the front of the field. Samba and Nathan battling one another now back at the front of the field. It's round number 4, it seems, for Nathan at the very front of the field, and Nathan's going to hold it round the outside, but Samba with a DRS looking down the inside line for turn number 4, late on the brakes. Samba gets the move done, but Nathan's going to try and hold it around the outside of the corner. He'll have the inside for turn number 6, but we've already seen that move doesn't necessarily work. He's going to go down the inside line and Samba smartly backs out of the move. Nathan holds on to the lead for the time being, but Samba is sticking nice and close to him. So Nathan still at the front of the field, at the front of the DRS queue, not really quite able at the moment to pull away from this pack. Verstappen as well on the back of Jan for 4th position, looking pretty close at the moment it seems, but as Pyrrhic Siege is the first driver now to pick up a time penalty, that's coming out of turn number 9 for the NRX driver then in that purple car, down in 11th place at the moment. He'll be hoping that other drivers around him will be picking up penalties, but as it stands that doesn't look like it might be the case. It looks fairly clean at the front of the field so far, considering we're nearly on to lap 10 and nobody at the moment seems to have picked up a penalty. Snell with a fastest lap, as you would expect on those fresh soft compound tyres, but he has got a long way to go to catch up with this pack of cars. We shall wait and see whether this strategy worked out for him, but we're not far away now from the leaders of this race pitting for the first time, as Samba again going for the move on Nathan around the outside of turn number 4, but it's not going to pay off as Bjorn and Tarmo now side by side. There's medium tyres coming into their own, and Tarmo down the inside line for turn number 6 is going to get the move done. Is on Bjorn. Bjorn's going to hold it around the outside, but again no grip on that outside line, and Tarmo up into 6th place now on those medium compound tyres. He's doing a very, very solid job at the moment of working his way forwards, while the rest of the soft runners seem to struggle around them. So yeah, doing a brilliant job for him. Now up into 6th position, his TTG teammate, of course, Noisy, down at the back of the field, not having the same luck on those tyres, sadly. Looking a bit further down then, Konzo still losing track with the medium runners in front. Sadly, Konzo in 12th position as Snell, the next one to pick up a time penalty. He's letting his teammate through now. So Tinkan down the inside of Konzo. He will get that position as again Samba and Nathan are battling at the very front of the field. This time at turn 3. And with the DRS, Samba's going to breeze past, and Kuhnbleit trying to get down the inside as well. Nathan was trying to slam the door but couldn't quite do so. Nathan's going to hold it again around the outside of turn number 4. Can Kuhnbleit get the exit on him through the curve of turn number 5? Not quite, down in towards turn number 6, and yet again Nathan holds the place, but this time around Samba into the lead of the proceedings. Apologies just to break away from the action a second there, but glad to say we have got somebody in the commentary box alongside me. We have got the Premier Division commentator James Head alongside, which is great to see. James, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing really well, yeah. Saw Luke that was having a few issues in terms of his disconnection, but we are here, of course, with the action. I'm having to take it from the stream, so might be a few seconds behind the action, but certainly Kuhnbleit right on the back of Nathan, Samba right in there as well. Really having a really good battle up the hill.
Yeah, really good battle, like I say. Nathan down the inside line at turn number 3 yet again on Samba, trying to get the move done and back into the lead of the race. Nathan does not want to sit in 2nd place, but as I say that, he turns his DRS off and sits back in behind the ERT driver as Kuhnbleit and Jaum going side by side into turn 4. It's getting very close at the front of the field, and this has allowed Tarmo on those medium tyres to catch up. Tarmo here in a very good spot in this race, you've got to say, isn't he? 6th place at the moment on the medium compound tyres, and he is hammering now the back of these soft runners.
He is hammering the back of the soft runners, and we're beginning to see, actually, as we get into the race, it's lap 11 out of 36, and the mediums are beginning to come on board more than the soft compound tyres as well. So that is to factor in. Tom, of course, can go a little bit later on into the race. The soft runners, of course, will probably be pitting for the next few laps, and of course, I'm sure that the track limits are going to be watched as well and all of that.
Yeah, so as I say that, Konzo's gone around, unfortunately, coming out of turn 10, and he's completely lost his front wing. That's a disaster for Excel. He's going to have to do a full lap now without a front wing on his car. That's a real shame for Konzo, and yet again for Excel, it's just not going their way, is it? They didn't have a strong run. It's carnage, by the way, at the front of the field. Everyone's going side by side. Tarmo and Verstappen now running side by side. Tarmo trying to go around the outside, coming up towards turn number 4, and he's going to get the move done. So Tarmo up into 5th place. It's starting to cloud over as well, and by the sounds of it, rain looks like it is coming, by the looks of things in the chat. So Tarmo here could have played an absolute blinder and is flying on those medium tyres now.
Yeah, the German absolutely flying. I mean, he's now on the back of Yeoman Fall for LFR. Kuhnbleit just in front of that as well. So it is really beginning to concertina up. And Tom will need to get this moves done, I think, throughout the field. Looking further down the field as well, I know Sieb is right on the back of Exige. They're looking quite good. Exige, of course, has got a penalty from being picked up earlier on in the race. There is a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think that might have been either Nolan or Konzo. And I think Konzo was spun again, coming through the end of the middle sector. But Samba leading the way, Nathan in second, Kuhnbleit in third, lap 14 out of, well, lap 13 out of the 36 about to begin.
Yeah, 30 out of 36, like you say, about to begin. Tinkan, the next one with a time penalty in 11th place. It is now just starting to cloud over a little bit, and I think the soft runners now at the front of the field are just trying to hold on until the rain comes. It's going to be a tall order for them, as they've got someone spinning. Tarmo has spun at turn number 3, having such a good start to this race. I don't know if that was contact or if he just dropped the car on his own, but Tarmo from 5th place has spun out of contention just before the rain's about to come. That is such a shame for Tarmo and for TTG. They had such a good run in France, and it's really fallen apart for them in the last few laps.
It has, and Tom obviously, I think, got caught in the curve coming through turn 3. It is so easy to spin the car coming through there, especially if you've got a very unstable setup. We're seeing pit stops as well. Konzo back into the pit lane, obviously repairing his front wing. He's gone onto a set of soft compound tires. There's more yellow flags in the middle and final sector as well, and I think that's Daniel that's round.
Yeah, Daniel, the next one to spin. That's another driver that spun at turn number 7. I think that's the 3rd driver we've seen spin at that corner. So, yeah, real disaster for him, and he's picked up a penalty to boot as well, just to make things a little bit worse for himself. On to lap 14 of this race. This is the latest you would expect a regular soft runner to go in this race before they would pit for a set of medium compound tyres. It's very obvious they are sticking it out for the rain at this point in the race, but the soft tyres not holding on as much as they would like. Bumpier now the lead medium runner in 6th position for IRT. He's all over the back of Verstappen for 5th place, and he's got Bjorn on the softs just behind him. So the medium runners still marching their way forwards. The problem is that the majority of the medium runners actually have time penalties, so they have that stacking against them. You've got to say the top 5 though, Samba, Nathan, Kuhnbleit, Jaume and Verstappen, are doing a very good job of holding on to very worn soft tyres.
Yeah, definitely. I think, honestly, they're trying to stay out as well because the rain is not too far away. Probably in the next few laps or so, probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I would think, that the rain begins to fall. And this is what the guys are relying on. They're not coming into the pit lane just yet, and they're trying to extend their stints on a little bit further. And that is why, obviously, the cloud beginning to come over the circuit. Plenty of penalties being picked up for Verstappen, the latest, to pick up a penalty. Khalifa, however, the ERT man in 8th position, right on the back of Bjorn, running up in towards turn 1. He is looking very quick, I've got to say, on that set of mediums.
Yeah, doing a really good job, like you say, and he's one of the only medium runners without a penalty. He's using his DRS down towards 3. Is he going to go for a late move down the inside of the corner? He's not close enough to the back of Bjorn to be able to dive down the inside, so he'll stay in 8th place for the time being. But as I say that, Bjorn's just completely dropped the car. Number 3, that's his front wing gone now, and that is another driver that spun the car coming out of the corner. That was plain and simply on traction. Those soft tyres look absolutely dead, and he dropped the car coming out of the corner. So these soft tyres really falling apart. Sieb now going for a move on Khalifa around the outside. Is he going to get the move done? Yes, he is. A stunning move from Sieb around the outside of Khalifa at turn number 6. And the IRT drivers now are the lead medium runners. They're doing a brilliant job on those medium tyres. Sieb working his way through. Bumpier now right on the back of Verstappen, coming up to lap 16, and still the rain isn't coming down.
Yeah, rain's still not coming down. I think it's going to be around lap 22, 23. I've got to put a bet on it in terms of how the rain is probably going to come back. Samba's still leading the way. Nathan in second, Kuhnbleit third, and it's raining. Yeah, the rain has just started, so it is now spitting with rain. It's not heavy, but the rain is coming down, so we are closing in now on the pit stop window, and I think Nathan's realised that he's going for a move on Samba up towards turn number 3. Can he get the inside line? Yes, he can. Can he get the traction coming out of the corner? I think just about. He can't. Yeah, Samba can't react on the exit of the corner, and Nathan breezes back into the lead of the race just as the rain starts coming down. Now, how heavy is the rain going to be? And of course, these drivers have got to take into consideration who their teammates are in this race. They don't know who their teammates are at this point, as now Tinkan and Sieb go side by side. Tinkan's going to get the move done on Sieb as well. He got the move done on Khalifa a couple of corners ago. Now he's past Sieb, so Tinkan flying through on his medium compound tyres. It looks like the rain's going to be... It's very close now to intermediate tyres. These soft runners are really struggling for grip. Samba's coming in. I think Kuhnbleit's coming in. Nathan's staying out. Nathan has stayed out on the track. Jaume is staying out on the track as well. I think that's a mistake. They should have surely come into the pits. Looking at the track, though, honestly, you normally see the raindrops begin to fall on the track. I can't see that visibly, certainly from what I'm looking at. Of course, you might be different, Aiden, because you've got the track rod in front of you. But it doesn't look like it is actually affecting the track that much. And I think Nathan has actually played it right. He's gone an extra lap on that sort of soft compound tyres, and I think he's played it right.
I don't know. By the looks of it, on my side of things, it's all of a sudden come down very heavy. I'm on board with Nathan now. Yeah, that track is intermediate conditions. There is no doubt. I think Nathan's played that one too risky. He stayed out thinking it would work. The problem is he didn't need to take the risk of staying out. If he came in, he was in the lead of the race anyway. He wasn't going to get held up by any sort of teammate or anything like that. He didn't need to stay out, but in that case he has. Has he just gifted a race victory here to Samba? We know how difficult it is to overtake in the wet conditions. Fleddy has spun, by the way, coming out of turn 1. DRS has now just been disabled, and Fleddy is already being swamped by the intermediate runners. So I think here, Nathan, has just thrown away a possible victory as Bjorn's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. Tinkan and Jam going side by side as they come up towards the pit lane. But Nathan, with that late stop, I think that was too risky. I think he's just possibly thrown away the lead.
Yeah, given Samba how much he's catching on the back of Sebe as well, he's just got 1.5 seconds coming through the end of the middle sector alone. So you can really tell that the set of inters is coming into play. And yeah, more spinners out on the track. Nathan leading the way, they'll Boomier in second. But of course, this is all going to change. Everyone is into the pit lane. Sebe now into the pit lane as well. Fleddy has came in. He made a mistake actually early on in the race. But Boomier now leading the way. But now, obviously, Nathan well outdone by Samba.
Massively outdone, and by both QVR drivers as well. So Nathan's fallen from first down to fourth, and he is 2.2 seconds behind Verstappen. That is a disaster for Nathan and for Relentless in the championship as well. Of course, QVR, their closest rivals, they're 14 points behind going into this race. Nolan is well out of position, down in 17th at the moment, and the QVR drivers running second and third as it stands. Kuhnblei's let Verstappen through, interestingly. So Verstappen up into second place. Maybe with that penalty, he's hoping to break the penalty range to Nathan. But by staying out that extra lap, trying to take the gamble, he's blown the lead and blown a comfortable advantage that he could have had, and is now down in fourth and has got to try and make overtake stick in the wet, which we all know is very difficult to pull off.
If anybody can do it, though, it's Nathan. And I think Nathan is honestly one of those drivers, 1.6 seconds behind. He's got the clear air now to try and close in on both QVR drivers. Of course, the QVR team are going to be working together. Verstappen and Kuhnblau, that is an absolute given. Looking further down the field as well, PUX Siege is getting quite close to the back of Snell, doing a fantastic job for his team. Cyclonato as well, passing Fleddy. Fleddy really struggling on that set of inters. He normally does struggle on that sort of wet compound tyres as well. But Samba leading the way, Verstappen second, Kuhnblau in third, lap 19 out of 36 has begun, and we are now to the halfway stage.
Yeah, halfway stage of this race, and it's a completely different complexion to what it was about 15 minutes ago. It's a completely different race, it looks like now, doesn't it? But Samba now with a gifted opportunity here in the lead of the race, with the driver directly behind him with a penalty. So ERT, who've not had the strongest of seasons so far, could be staring at their first win of the season. Of course, Relentless have won 3 in a row. They look like they could have won 4 in a row, but this strategy so far from Nathan hasn't quite paid off. He is closing in on Kuhnblau, but passing Kuhnblau is going to be a whole nother kettle of fish on top of that. Tarmo's recovered to 5th. Despite spinning, Tarmo's still in 5th, which is very, very strange to see, isn't it? I think most of the drivers that stayed out were the people that were ahead of him. They got caught out by people coming in. Verstappen got off the road there. No, that is very bizarre. Verstappen's let Kuhnblau black through again. That is really bizarre, but now these two were just kind of losing time, and now Samba has nearly a 3-second lead at the front.
Yeah, I have a feeling actually Verstappen might have made a mistake coming through turn 7. He just lost 0.3 of a second on the exit of the corner, and Kuhnblau, I think, just absolutely sauntered past him as if he wasn't even there. So I think Kuhnblau now into second, Verstappen now in third. Verstappen can hold back Nathan somewhat, and you know what these two like to do. They like to fight, of course, Verstappen and Nathan. Seen this plenty of times in my LOE career commentating on Division 1. But Nathan on the back of Verstappen, he has to try and get close. He has to try and force Verstappen into a mistake. That is very difficult because Verstappen never makes mistakes.
Yeah, Verstappen, well, we know it from EML, we know it from many other leagues that Verstappen is the king of keeping it clean and staying out of trouble, isn't he? So I think if there was anybody to hold up Nathan, I think Verstappen's going to be the one. So it's going to be difficult for Nathan to recover here. And of course, this is just going to allow Tarmo to close in, as he is doing. He's just started to creep up to this battle just a little bit. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. That is Noisy, who was off the road and nearly a lap down now. So for Noisy, this has been a horror show of a race, unfortunately, for the TTG man. He's nearly actually being lapped by his teammate. It's been such a disaster this race so far. He actually has now been lapped by Samba, who now leads by 3.1 seconds over Kuhn Blai. So it's all playing beautifully into Samba's hands at the moment at the front of the field. The problem is, for ERT and for the majority of the teams, apart from QVR, they've got one driver doing really well and the other driver floundering at the bottom of the field.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, TTG, obviously Noisy right down the back of the field, 19th position. As long as he keeps going, he will still pick up points for his team, and it's that important, of course, given how close the standings were coming into tonight, that points are really up for the grabs for every single position. And remember that he can score a minimum of 2 points, and that 2 points, of course, can be the difference between you winning and losing EML League 1. And of course, that will remain to be seen. As I think we've just seen an overtake by Yom on the back of Boumier, getting the move done in towards turn 3. Probably a little bit delayed on your end, Aiden, but we're through and he's into P6.
Yeah, he's into P6, like you say. Good move from Yam, and he's now up into 6th position. Can't recover for IF as Nathan, actually. Wow, completely missed it. I don't think he was anywhere near close enough, but Nathan's got the move done on Verstappen into turn number 6. That's a lovely move, and that was Noisy that's got off the road again at turn number 7. I thought that was Samba facing the wrong way. It's Noisy, but Noisy for the second lap in a row has spun at turn number 7. He keeps going, and he's still going to keep going to try and score that point, but it's been a bit of a disaster for him. Nathan, though, crucially now ahead of Verstappen, so he's got a free run now at Kuhn Blai to try and get past the other QVR man and back up into 2nd position. Can he pull that off? Verstappen now within penalty range of Tarmo, who's right behind him, and then Jaum is closing in quickly as well in 6th position. So Nathan up back into the podium places, but still got a long way to go to recover what he lost in the pit stops.
Yeah, definitely. I think Verstappen is just waiting in behind as well. Obviously, after making that slight mistake earlier on, Nathan now back through, down and towards the inside of turn 6 they got the move done. So now Nathan now can push on to try and get Kuhn Blai. Kuhn Blai is a very quick driver in the set of inters, and Verstappen obviously can just hold back slightly, and Yom obviously coming through the field as well. Watch out for him, he's 2.5 seconds behind, but if these guys start get battered and get Constantine up, it's all going to bring Yom into play, and possibly even the likes of Boumier and Snell as well, they could all come into play.
Yeah, they could definitely all come into play, like you say, Bumpier as well. Not far out the back. Snell, by the way, was the only man that pitted for a legitimate pit stop in the dry. He pitted and put 2 sets of soft compound tyres on. He's ended up 8th, so actually that strategy in the end's not worked out too badly for Snell. He's not really lost anything. He's not gained anything, but he's not lost anything by doing that strategy, so he holds 8th for the time being. A bit further down, Purix Siege is following Snell. Then it's Tinkan completely on his own in 10th position. He's got CPI Daniel behind him with Khalifa and Snipes tucked up behind CPI Daniel. 2 drivers that should be right at the front. Of course, Snipes qualified 3rd, but a spin early on, and he's now right down at the back of the field, unfortunately. Cyclonado, another one as well, qualified on pole, down in 14th, and it's Seed, Freddy, Nolan, and then Konzo and Noisy out of position after losing their front wings in different incidents. Samba leads 4.2 seconds is now his advantage at the front of the field. Nathan on the back of Kuhn Blai has dropped Verstappen completely, so Verstappen's now 1.3 seconds back. Nathan's already onto the back of Kuhn Blai, but is using his ERS to get there. Kuhn Blai with a lot more ERS here can just use it down the straights and hold Nathan up.
Yeah, it's about 40% more ERS, I think, that Verstappen has got on the back of Nathan as well. So obviously he can use up that ERS to try and close up to the back. But I think Nathan is doing this nicely because, of course, you're going to be saving more ERS than actually is necessary on this set of intermediate conditions because, of course, you're slowing the car down more, and therefore you're not using up any more ERS than is absolutely necessary. And I think Nathan just wants to realise that, and obviously he's there in 3rd, still in a very good point-scoring position, of course. He last won, of course, in Spain early on in the season in League 1, and Nathan's still there, 5 tenths off running up in towards turn 1, but still, if there's anybody that can try and make this move done from an absolute impossibility, it's Nathan.
Yeah, definitely. We'll keep an eye on what he can do. He's using his ERS up towards turn number 3, but again, I don't think it's close enough. He's actually derating now, coming up towards the corner, so I think he's thinking about the move, but again, not close enough. Of course, no help of DRS in the rain, so that's not going to help him get any closer down these straights. He's just sitting behind at the moment in 3rd position. Kuhn Blai with a lot more ERS to hand is holding that 2nd place quite nicely, and Samba just continues to pull away at the front of the field now. Sieb with another time penalty for IRT. He's down in 15th at the moment. That's his 2nd penalty of this race, I believe. We'll actually just have a double check and have a look at penalties, and yeah, that is actually Sieb's third penalty of this race. Everyone else has a 3-second time penalty for track limits, apart from Tinkan and Daniel, who both have spinning pit lane penalties as well. So a few drivers picking up penalties, but at least the intermediate conditions should help them keep the penalties relatively low.
Yeah, Khalifa, I think, was side by side there with Daniel for just a second. He's 300 literally off him. But in real time, he's probably passed him now, as I'm saying that. Khalifa is on the back of him. And actually, Snipes is on the back of his battle as well. And it's getting quite dicey further down the field. This is the mid-pack coming through the exit of turn 6. It's probably a little bit longer on in your end, Aiden. But Khalifa still holding on to position for 12. But Snipes is going to have a run.
Yeah, Snipes had a run. He had a look around the outside of turn 6. It's kind of bizarre. Turn 6 seems to be everybody's favourite overtaking opportunity today. We've seen so many moves into turn 6 tonight. Snipes tried it again into that corner, but wasn't quite close enough. But he is all over the back of that ERT car coming up towards turn number 1. It's not quite close enough to have a look down the inside. Daniel, though, in front has run a little bit wide. Khalifa, though, can't get on the power and get the move done on the exit. So these drivers it's kind of a tit for tat at the moment, isn't it? One driver makes a mistake and then the driver behind makes a mistake as well. And in the wet, you can't risk a dive bomb down the inside. It's never going to work. Daniel again wide, coming out of turn number 3. Snipes with horrible traction. Snipes has lost the car coming out of turn number 3. He tried to get on the power too early out of the corner, trying to get as close as he can to the battle in front, and in the process has dropped it. So from a great qualifying, it's again just started to fall apart, unfortunately, for NRX in this race. He's dropped down to 16th position and just ahead of Nolan down in 17th, and Jaum as well with a time penalty. That's not going to help him in his battle now with the likes of Bumpia and that in this race. So yeah, a real shame, unfortunately, for Jaum to pick up that penalty.
Yeah, real shame, to be honest. He was doing quite good in the race. Snipes, of course, has drawn back in 16th position. Nolan there in 17th. I think Noisy might have spun, or Konza, one of the two. There's certainly yellow flags there in the second and third sector. Samba's still leading, like 4.7 seconds of the gap. He's commanding out in front so far. Kuhnblei there in second, Nathan in third, and Nathan again probably on the run down towards turn 4, getting close, but not close enough to try and get a move done. Verstappen there in fourth, and Nathan has caught up to the back of the guy ahead, of course, being Kuhnblei, but Verstappen can't really gain back either. It's a little bit of no man's land, to be honest, between the three, and Nathan there just pressurising Kuhnblei maybe into a mistake, but Verstappen ideally need to latch onto the back and then force Nathan into a mistake, and then it could be a QVR second and third again.
Yeah, that's kind of what he needs to do, like you say, is Pure Exige going for the move on Snell into turn number 6 once again. Down the inside of the corner, he gets the move done. Snell's trying to try and come back at him down towards turn 7. He'll have the inside line. Exige leaves him just about enough room, but he's not going to get the move done. So, and a big snap of oversteer from Exige, but he just about holds the car on the exit of the corner. He's now up into 8th position. Jaum's into the pit lane. Now, this is quite an interesting move. I imagine this is set for a set of full wet tyres, because it is very, very wet out there at the moment. We'll see what he goes on to. It is a set of the full wets for Jaum, so we'll keep an eye on what his pace is, where he comes out. I think he'll come out in and around where the likes of Khalifa and Cyclonedo are. In fact, maybe just ahead of them. Actually, Cyclonedo has just pitted as well. So both LFR drivers going for the full wets. Jaum in some free air in 10th position. Could this be an inspired move for him? There's only 10 laps to go in this race, but if the wets are that much faster, could this play in his favour?
I think he's looking to longer in the race. I think it's going to be full wet conditions in a full couple of laps' time, and that's why Jaum has obviously gone on that tyre. He's behind Tinkan out on track by around 4.5 seconds towards turn 3, but we'll see if this works. He does look quite quick, I'm going to say, on that set of full wet. It might be the interchangeable conditions, and do you know what? I think it is, because he's already gained a second on him.
He gained 8 tenths per second on Tinkan in the braking zone for turn number 3. He is absolutely flying on these full wets, is Jaum. I wonder if any of the leaders are going to react to this and come into the pit lane. I don't think any of them have. No, Tarmo's reacted. Tarmo in 5th position has reacted. He's coming in for a set of full wet tyres. In terms of pace, I think it's the move, because Jaum has nearly closed in. It was 4.2 seconds between Jaum and Tinkan when he came out the pit lane. Tinkan's committed to the pit lane. It's 1.5 seconds by the time Tinkan's committed to the pits. So he has taken, well, close to about 3 seconds out of Tinkan in about 2/3 of a lap. That, to me, suggests the wets are easily the faster tyre. It's whether, well, Tarmo's going to come out behind Jaum. Jaum has jumped Tarmo quite comfortably in the pit lane here. If none of these top drivers react, then it's very possible that they could all get jumped by Jaum as well.
Yeah, it's a good near, 2.5 seconds, I think, that is coming out the pit lane for Jaum, and he's there in 5th position. And potentially his He's not within range of Samba, to be honest, at this moment in time. Boomier gets a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit white line, which is a shame, of course, for him. Further down the field there in 7th position, so actually he's on the exit of the pit lane, and he's got a 5-second penalty for that. Kuhnblei under pressure though from Nathan, 2 tenths in behind, and again, look at John beginning to close in the gap. He's closing in a couple of tenths every single corner. The LFR man could easily be within range of Samba. They all stay out though. Samba is into the pit lane.
Samba's into the pits and Verstappen's followed him in. Kuhnblei and Nathan have risked it and stayed out, so this is interesting to see what the gap is. We'll see where Samba is in relation to Jaum, because the gap between them before the pit stops was about 8 seconds between Samba and Jaum. Just bear that in mind as Samba comes out of the pit lane. That is well over halved in that couple of laps that Samba has stayed out. Jaum coming through turn number 1 now is only 3 seconds behind. He's taken 5 seconds out of Samba in a couple of laps, even more than that. So Jaum, if Kuhnblei and Nathan pitted, they would be comfortably behind Jaum and probably Tarmo as well. So if you're Kuhn and Nathan, do you risk it and stay out, or do you come in and just take the pain, as Khalifa has actually crashed coming out of turn number 10, and that has triggered a full safety car. That has triggered a full safety car, and that has played beautifully into Kuhnblei and Nathan's hands, because they can come in and not lose as much time.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think, honestly, it might actually get me into the lobby, I hope, as well, because of the full safety car. Kuhnblei will lead in the way, Nathan in second, but they have to stick to that delta time, remember, and Samba and Jaum are going to be ahead of them, I think, coming out of the pit then. It's going to be very close on pit exit, but I would imagine that Kuhnblei and Nathan are probably going to be both of them in terms of happening now on track. I think they're going to be rejoining around where 4th and 5th position is. They may get outjumped by Tarmo, depending on the delta time, but they're both into the pit lane, and everyone else, of course, on a full set wet of tyres can now just go to the end.
And just to make it even worse for Nathan, Nathan's teammate was Kuhnblei.
Oh!
That is unlucky, to say the least. Nathan follows his teammate into the pit lane. That could cost him as Kuhnblei comes out of the pit lane. Kuhnblei's behind Jaum, but he's ahead of Tarmo. Nathan's come out behind Tarmo, and I think behind Verstappen as well, coming out of the pit lane. Man, it just is not going Nathan's way today. He stayed out too late at the first safety car, and at this safety car he's come in directly behind his teammate. That is a disaster for Nathan, who has gone, well, from leading down to 4th in the first pit stop phase, and has now gone down from 3rd to 6th in the second phase.
Such a shame, and I think Nathan has really been as well as the same teammates, and obviously they're going to be seen, of course, obviously both of them having the same pit crew, which is such a shame. And Nathan, of course, getting the double stack. Not as worse, of course, with the pit release, as I've just joined the lobby so I can actually commentate live now. Samba leading the way, they'll join with second, Kuhnblei in third, but still under the safety car, Aiden. Yeah,
still under the safety car as it stands, but my oh my, it's just not going Nathan's way so far. It's not been the luckiest of races. He'll be a man on mission in his final few laps, trying to gain some places. Samba still leads, but he's got a new challenger now behind him in Jaum in second position, Kuhnblei third, Tarmo 4th now ahead of Verstappen. So what a recovery drive it's been from Tarmo, from spinning in the dry conditions, now up into 4th place. The good thing, at least maybe for the likes of Tarmo and Nathan, is that Verstappen has a penalty, and then almost everybody behind them does as well. The only driver behind Nathan in 6th that doesn't have a penalty is Konzo, and Konzo's down in 17th place. So they've got really no threat from the drivers behind.
But can you imagine how many positions that Konzo is actually going to gain? He's there in 17th position, he's got Sieb in front of him. All of the rest of the field are going to be bunched up, of course, and they're all going to be picking up penalties. So as long as Konzo can stay on the back of these guys, of course, when the safety car comes in, it will be really good, I've got to say, from Konzo's perspective, so he can pick up more points for his team. Some of those still leading the way, and I think he's going to have the advantage, actually, off the safety car restart. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres than Jaum. Kuhnblei has got slightly fresher tyres along with Nathan. They've on 1 lap all tyres, as opposed to 0 laps, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen. But Kuhnblei there in 3rd. Tarmo is still involved in this as well. Remember, he spun earlier on the race. He's somehow in 4th position as a result, and TTG will be absolutely counting on their chickens, I've got to say. Maybe on their funky chickens, in fact. Tarmo there in 4th position, Noisy down in 18. Noisy, of course, has been also saved by the safety car as well, so TTG not out of this in terms of getting good points.
Yeah, they're not out of the question, like you say. I think actually Noisy hasn't been saved, I think because he's a lap down Unfortunately,
he is.
so, yeah, he is. He's right in the middle of the queue, actually. So he's going to get some hefty blue flags once the safety car peels into the pit lane. So, yeah, he is unfortunately out of position at the moment. He's behind, I think, he's behind Tin Can's car. So he's in between Tin Can and Daniel at this moment at the safety car restart. So just a heads up for that one, as I believe safety car's in this lap. Yeah, so Conso's just coined the queue. So safety car is in this lap. We'll ride with Samba then, who ever since the wet conditions have come in has looked in a world of his own at the moment at the front of the field. Was leading by nearly 4.5 seconds before they came in for the wet tyres. That lead got halved by Jaum. And now the safety car comes in. He's got to try and pull away once again. When does he go for the safety car restart? He's not gone as of yet. By the time he comes down to turn number 10, he's still trying to get those tyres up to temperature. Now he goes coming out of the corner, and it's a fairly even start from everyone at the front. Nathan's got a brilliant restart. He's already side by side with Verstappen up towards turn number 1. Can he get down the inside of the QVR driver up towards the corner? Yes, he can. He forces Nathan wide, and in front, Kuhnblei and Tamo running side by side as well. Both QVR drivers have lost a place at the safety car restart. Nathan's trying to make it 2 for Kuhnblei up towards turn number 3. He's got the inside line there, 3 wide as Kuhnblei re-dives down the inside of Tamo, and Nathan's kind of squeezed on the inside line. There's a time penalty for Nathan. He's ghosted as well. He has to back out of it as well. That was a little bit at the inside line, and then Kuhnblei at the last minute decided to dive down the inside of Tamo, and 3 into 1 doesn't go. Nathan, Kuhnblei, Tamo didn't really have anywhere to go in that situation.
Yeah, and Exceed trying to go down the inside of Nathan as well. So Verstappen is still losing places. Snell and Boumier have now gone through into 7th and 8th position. Verstappen really struggling on that set of wet compounded tyres. Of course, everyone is on that set of wet, but he hasn't got them up to temperature, and he hasn't got the gusto really throughout the field to try and get the position. Snell has passed him, Boumier has passed him, and now Pure Exceed still in the back of Nathan. Samba, though, 6 tenths ahead, going into the wall of lap 33. Joel there in second, but Joel is hunting him down. The Brazilian doing a fantastic job there. Tomo in third, Kuhnblei in fourth, and Kuhnblei on that set of fresh wet, he's doing a good job. But Steve, I think, has fun coming out the final corner. He's had contact with Nolan, who has crashed into the wall. So Nolan has crashed into the wall, and that deploys a safety car. A safety car with only 3.5 laps to go. We are only going to be getting, I think, the safety car maybe for at least 1 lap.
That seems like it might be the case. That is, I think, also that's one of the last laps that the safety car can come out, but round 2 for another safety car restart. And yeah, QVR seemed easily the least prepared for that safety car restart. Tama got past Kuhnblei, Nathan got past Verstappen as well, and Verstappen, in the process of being overtaken by Nathan, has dropped behind Exige, Bumpier and Snell in the process as well, so which he can't really gain back because he has a penalty to his name as well. So the advantage that QVR had has somewhat disappeared, but as we say that, Nolan's now out of the race, so it's been a real topsy-turvy race for the top 2 in this championship.
Yeah, Nolan, if mine serves me right, I think he was out here in the LOE F2 race around here, so I'm really not surprised that Nolan... Obviously, I think he got caught in a bit of contact with Sieb coming through turn 10, or turn 9, and then through the right-hander of turn 10, so that's where that contact has come. But he's obviously out of the race, relentless, only going to be scoring with the one driver, of course, that being Nathan there in 5th position. Is he even going to score in 5th position? Because he's got everyone behind him. If he's got multiple warnings on that car into the final couple of laps, you're going to be track extending through. Of course, as the wet tire, as the track gets worse, Nathan is going to be really struggling. In fact, everyone is going to be at the same disadvantage, to be honest. Samba, though, still leading the way. Yeoman second, Tomo in third. I think we can say with confidence that Sieb is probably not going to get on the back of the safety car. He is still sticking to his delta time, so he's not going to get on the back of the safety car, I don't think. They've all joined in the back now, and Fleddy has picked up a 3-second penalty, but they'll all join in the back of the safety car with 2.5 laps to go coming through turn 3.
Oh, and just as everyone caught the safety car, when I say Jaum is so lucky there. He lost the rear of the car coming up towards turn number 3 and just about managed to keep it on the road. Jaum was so close there to throwing his car out of the second place position. That would have been a real disaster for LFR if he dropped out of position. Everyone was slowing up quite heavily for the safety car there, so I think kind of a few drivers were a little bit caught out with how slow the safety car was going through turn number 3. I think... Oh, safety car's in this lap. Wow, that has been called very early. That safety car in the lap call has been called before we've even got to the second sector split line. So that's coming in very, very early. Samba then is going to lead them away again for another safety car restart. Is Jaum closer this time around? When does Samba go? Does he go after turn 10? Surely if you're Samba, you go at a different time to catch more drivers out.
I think coming out of turn 9 he could go. He's backing up the pack so much. Sieb is going to get onto the back of the safety car queue by the looks of Samba actually nearly losing it underneath the safety car. He's warming up his tyres quite vigorously. So is Jorman Tomo in behind. And they've got to really go. And there Samba goes. Now in towards turn 9. He will lead the way through turn 9 and then through the right hand of Red Bull Mobile at turn 10. But Samba now has got 2 laps between himself and possible victory. John there in second, Tomo in third, Kumbly in fourth. Nathan right on the back. It's a very clean restart by all. Snipes looks like he's right on the back of Tinkan as well, coming out the final corner. And the XL man could be outdone down in towards turn 1. But the NRX man, I think, is not going to get through in the XL. But the XL man of Tinkan stays in P12. And Snell right on the back of Boumier as well, running up the hill. They're going to go side by side, possibly running in towards turn 3, the right-hander. Of course, at Rint corner, Samba leading the way, though. Yeoman second, Tomo in third, and Snell goes all the way around the outside of Boumier. This would be a phenomenal move. He can pull it off, and it's still going to be side by side on the run down towards turn 4. Verstappen in behind is not too far off, and Boumier actually gets caught on the outside curb slightly, on the inside actually, nearly spun the car around. Now Verstappen dives it down the inside line. He downed his gear actually, down into the corner through turn 4, and now Verstappen on the back of Boumier, still side by side, but I think Boumier is just going to come out on top.
Yeah, just going to hold on to the position for Bumpier, but Snell round the outside of turn 3. Lovely move, gets himself up into 7th place. Nathan, yet again, is all over the back of Kumbly and just can't find a way through. Tinkan's gone off through turn number 6, yes he has, so yet again another disaster for XL. They're down at the moment in 15th and 16th. Konzo without a time penalty, a good gain. A lot of places once this race finishes, but we're coming up to now the final lap of this race. What has been, that's fair to say, a chaotic race really from start to finish. So much has happened in this race, and Samba leads the way from Jaum, but Jaum with that time penalty is going to lose his podium spots to Tamo and Kumbly as it stands. But Nathan is going to try everything he can to deny Kumbly, as Kumbly slow out of turn 1. Nathan's got the inside line for turn number 3. They already made contact a few laps ago into this corner. Nathan late on the brakes down the inside of the corner is just going to squeeze Kumbly out of room. Kumbly run off the road just a little bit there. That might be something to look after at the end of this race, as Pure Exige is now at the inside as well. It was a fair enough move. As there's a further spin further down. That is Snipes and Fleddy that have come together at turn number 3. It was a fair enough move down the inside of Nathan, but Nathan didn't leave Kumbly a lot of space there.
Yeah, it was a fair enough move. It was a bit like Verstappen and Leclerc in the final couple of laps of the Austrian Grand Prix a couple of years ago. Nathan just forced him out wide, was entitled to the corner, had the inside line, and as soon as he's into P4. But we are now coming through the final couple of corners, and Samba is going to be dancing his way to Janeiro, quite literally, in towards the final couple of corners, now through the right-hander of turn 9, and then through the right-hander of turn 10. It's going to be an ERT victory. Joel there could be in second, but Tomo, I think, might get him. In terms of the penalty, still aligned. Samba wins from Joel in second, but with 3 seconds worth of penalties, Tomo was second. Kumbly is not entirely out of the podium. He crosses the line in fourth. Quite a few drivers now coming across the line. Daniel only 900s off Boumier in the end, but Samba out on top, Tomo in second, and Yulmer in third position. What an ending! Yeah,
what a crazy ending to that race in the end. And we have, for the first time this season, ERT winning the race. Samba has won then the Austrian GP for EML. Brilliant drive from him. He came on song in the wet conditions. No one could touch him in the wet conditions. Tamo with a brilliant recovery up to second place after his spin earlier on in this race, and Jaum holding on to a podium despite that penalty. That last lap battle between Nathan and Kumbly costs Kumbly and Kuvyar a podium position in the end. We'll wait and see whether Nathan is investigated for that after this race. We shall see. But yeah, up and down race, and in the end really neither of our championship contending teams at the very front had a solid race. I think just through the fact that Verstappen finished the race, QVR will likely take the lead of this championship going into round 6.
Yeah, which is unbelievable. I think QVR have always been consistent, and tonight just shows that, to be honest. But of course, towards the top step of the podium goes Samba, and he drove absolutely fantastically in for the ERT team. Their first win, of course, of the season. Fantastic to see, of course. Unfortunately, Aidan, I'm going to have to leave you because I've got to prepare for EML Terrier, which is unbelievable. But really hope you enjoyed it from my perspective and my remote commentary that I did for quite a lot of the laps of that race. Hopefully, Luke, of course, will be back after Christmas. But Aidan, I will leave it up to you, and I will see you in a bit.
Thank you very much for joining us, James, and yeah, thank you for filling in for Luke. Hopefully Luke is back, like you say, next time around. Let's run you through the final order then of the League 1 race. Samba wins from TTG, Tamo and Jaum in third position for LFR. Kumbly in fourth for QVR, and then it's Relentless Nathan in fifth ahead of Pure Exige for NRX in sixth. Then it's CPI Snell, QVR Verstappen, LFR Cyclonado and IRT Bumpia that rounds off the top 10. Daniel Konzo, Tin Can Snipes, Sieb, Fleddy and Noisy, your point scorers in the end. Noisy a lap down, but he did finish the race under his own power, so he will take the points for 17th. Nolan, Khalifa and Bjorn for Relentless, ERT and IFR, the the 3 drivers in the end that did not finish that race, they won't pick up any points for those positions. So a bit of a change in form, it seems, at the front of the field in the end. Relentless, for the first time since the first round of the season, have not won a race. They've not actually finished on the podium with either car in this race. Neither have QVR, though, but the fact that Verstappen's finished inside the top 10, along with Kuhnblei, means that QVR should take the lead of the championship going into round 6. So it is a change of guard at the top of the championship for the first time, I believe, since the first round of the season as well. ERT getting some points on the board, and Tarmo continuing TTG's strong run of form in the recent rounds as well. But there we go, guys. Thank you everybody for tuning into what has been a fairly truncated stream, to say the least. So you can go back and watch the qualifying stream that is now live on the League Racing TV YouTube channel, and the race as well. Of course, you can tune into that one once this stream is now over and done with. In about 15 minutes time, the Premier Division will be live for the EML Masters League. So yeah, keep into the League Racing TV channel for that stream as well. Thank you so much to everybody, though, for sticking with us and joining us throughout that race, and we will see you in just over a month's time for round number 6 of the EML season. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.